Joe Biden has tried to rally disaffected black voters with a visit to the scene of one of the most despicable race crimes of recent years. The US president spoke from the pulpit of the Emmanuel Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. It was June 17th, 2015, when a 21-year-old white man walked into the church and intended to ignite a race war, shot and killed 9 black parishioners and wounded 1 more. Biden at the time was vice president. Barack Obama memorably sang Amazing Grace at a tribute to the victims. The primary in South Carolina is scheduled for February the 3rd.
Poison has for too long haunted this nation. And what is that poison? White supremacy. Oh, it is. It's a poison. Throughout our history, it's ripped this nation apart. This has no place in America. Not today, tomorrow, or ever.
Clear message from Joe Biden, white supremacy ripping the nation apart. The Iowa caucus is on January the 15th. The state legislature reopened this Monday with the Republicans holding a 3-way grip on local power. A ban on abortion 6 weeks after conception is on hold pending Supreme Court review. Abortion, of course, set to be one of the hot-button topics during this presidential year of campaigning. Let's bring in for some analysis someone whose presence we always appreciate. Todd L is professor and director of the political management program at George Washington University. Todd, always a pleasure to see you. We're at the start of what is going to be a long voyage, and I hope you'll be joining us at regular intervals. We'll try not to work you too hard, sir. How do you see the chances of the two parties as we set off on this voyage towards the presidential vote next November?
Well, Happy New Year, and it's great to be with you, and looking forward to a lot of discussions. It's going to be a really interesting year. We've never had this sort of thing where we have 2 former presidents running again. The last time was before we have the modern presidential election system. That was back when we had Teddy Roosevelt running. So this is really new, and we have somebody like Donald Trump who's really captured his party, and they're 50 to 60% polling right now. For Donald Trump, I think that if he gets anywhere below 50% in New Hampshire and Iowa, then that means that Republicans might be looking for somebody else. And I think that could be very concerning for him.
That is interesting, because some would say that Trump is already a shoo-in, but you're saying that it's not yet a done deal for the guy who sees himself as the ultimate deal maker.
It's not yet a done deal, of course. And anything can happen. Donald Trump, let's not forget, is a septuagenarian. He's up there in terms of his age, and things do happen. And of course, he has all of these legal issues going on. They've only helped him so far, but they could perhaps be a detriment to him in the long run. We'll see. We know that candidates like Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis have been very careful in not trying to alienate Trump's voters, not really going after him too much. Just saying that they can do a better job of what he wanted to do so that they can still appeal to his voters in case he does stumble. So they're there waiting if it does happen.
Why is Iowa, the caucus there, seen as so significant?
Iowa is traditionally our first, the early 1970s when the system was changed. And the reason Iowa is really important is because you have the two Iowa and New Hampshire that do 2 very different things. In the Iowa caucuses, people actually have to go out to school auditoriums and meet with their neighbors and discuss who they want to support in their precincts. And so it's very grassrootsy. And in that way, it's a test of the strength of the organization that the candidate has built. And you can sometimes get some real surprises, like when we got Rick Santorum winning once, and Ted Cruz actually beat Donald Trump back in 2016, if we remember. So surprises can happen in Iowa. And it shows us who's actually got the ears of the people on the ground.
Today we saw Joe Biden, though, in South Carolina. Clearly he was going there with a particular message to rally a particular part of the electorate. What's his strategy? What's the thinking there?
Right. That's exactly right. Joe Biden has dropped the whole Bidenomics term, and that is very telling. And he's going after making this an election more of a choice between Biden's America and Trump's America, and less of a referendum on his 4 years in office. He's going back to that same thing that we heard him say the first time, that it's a battle for the soul of America, and we're hearing him get back to that because he thinks, and his campaign thinks, that the way he wins a race against Donald Trump is to make it a binary choice between him and Donald Trump, so that people really have to decide, do I really want 4 years of chaos in the office again?
Todd Belt of George Washington University, Professor and Director of the Political Management Program there. Thank you, Todd, as always, for joining us here. And we're looking forward to more analysis from you as we go through the weeks, months, all the way to November. Thank you, sir, very much indeed. Todd Belt joining us live.